Hello, everyone, and welcome to another in the series of Vegans Across the World. Today, we have Rachel in Nairobi, Kenya. Hi, Rachel.
Hi,
Thank,
Stacy. Nice to meet you.
thank you so much for being here. Rachel, what I'm going to
Mm.
do is I'm going to share my screen with you and everyone else. When I go off my screen, I won't see us, so you'll have to tell me verbally if you can see the map, and
Okay.
then we'll go from there. Can you see that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So there's your red dot in the world. We are going to zoom in on that. There's Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
And that's correct. You are in Nairobi, right?
Yes, I'm in Nairobi.
Okay. And what I'm going to do once we zoom in on that is I'm going to give everybody some information about the area.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
first of all, I meant to say Jumbo.
Jambo sana.
Is that how you say hello?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, some interesting facts about the area. Kenya is a country in East Africa with a coastline on the Indian Ocean. You can have close encounters with what's called the Big Five, which was originally used by game hunters to describe Africa's hardest animals to hunt. But many laws have been introduced in most African countries to protect them, and it is a criminal act to hunt any protected animal in Kenya. Kenya's Lamu Island, is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay. It's off the northeast coast. It's car free. Is that true? Do you know?
Um. Oh. Sorry. What did you say?
Do you know if the island itself is car free? There's no cars on the island.
Yeah, there are no roads. The roads are too narrow for vehicles.
I think that would be a great place to vacation then.
Yeah. Only that they use donkeys, for
Oh,
transport.
well, I wouldn't do that
Mhm.
though. Part of the Great Rift Valley goes through Kenya. It was formed more than 20 million years ago, and it's considered the cradle of mankind. Kenya, I'm sorry, Kenya's Kalenjin tribe. Is that how you say Kalenjin?
Yes.
Okay. They have been dubbed the running tribe for having many world record breaking runners. Uh,
Yes.
they have 68 different languages, but Swahili is the official language. Mount Kenya is the second highest mountain in Africa. Um, Kenyan Wangari Maathai, is that how you say
Mathai.
Maathai? Was the
Yes.
first African woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize in 2004.
Yes.
A majority of locals work in agriculture, with coffee being the most valued export. Other exports include tea and flowers. I think that's lovely. And they also drink chai tea there. They never drink coffee because they'd rather sell it. Is that true?
Not really. It's just that we like tea more. We are a tea drinking country.
Well, I was going to say that's smart. There are two distinct seasons. You have rainy season and dry season there. And I think you
Yeah.
said you're going into the rainy season right now, or are
Yeah.
you leaving it?
Yes, the short rains. Yes.
Are you going into the rainy season or going into the dry season?
The rainy season that should start in September, but it's a bit late because it's just starting now.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Yes.
So the primary education, which usually takes place between the ages of 8 to 14, is free and compulsory.
Yes.
Secondary education is also free, but it's not mandatory. There is a Kenyan version of Monopoly called Kumuliki. Is that true? Or
Mm,
Kumuliki?
yeah, although I don't know much about it because it's more popular at the coast in
Okay.
Mombasa. Yeah.
Okay. So beverages are drunk hot or at room temperature, never cold.
Hmm. It depends on the weather.
Okay. That's good to know. And
Yes.
there is a village where only women are allowed. Do you know if that's
Yes.
is that true?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And you guys have a population of 53.77 million as of the 2020 census. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen
Yeah.
and I will get back to us. So welcome, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Actually, when I was researching this, I realized, I have done interviews with people in Uganda and Tanzania, which are just to the west and the south of you. I have
Hmm.
now officially, we've now surrounded Lake Victoria.
Yes,
So, and so we have the countries all surrounding Lake Victoria, which is the where the Nile comes from, actually. And
yes,
you
exactly.
you also have the Great Migration there. You share that with Tanzania on your border.
Yeah, we do with the Serengeti.
Yeah, and
Yes,
you have a view of Mount Kilimanjaro, so which is right on your border there, which
yes,
is the
we
largest
do.
mountain, and
Yes.
that's in Tanzania. So you have some things in common there. So first of all, let's get to know you a little bit better. Why don't you tell us about yourself? For example, what do you do, and what kind of activism might you be involved in?
Um, I do a lot of things, but my current project is vegan lunch school program that I'm doing in a pastoralist area.
It's vegan what?
Vegan school lunch program where
Vegan
I
school
provide,
lunches. Okay.
yes, I provide lunch, so vegan lunch to some schools, about 3 schools in a pastoralistic area. Um, I also, at the moment, I'm also trying to promote businesses or products innovated in Africa that are using African raw materials for free for vegan innovators. I am also running a cat sanctuary where we rescue cats and give them shelter.
You have a cat sanctuary. You did tell me you were putting away the cats. So I'm sure it's a
Yes,
little
I have.
hectic around there.
It is, yeah.
How
We
many
have
cats do you have now?
about 80, slightly more because we got some came in today. So
Wow. Wow, you're
yes,
outdoing my mom and her husband, which they probably have more than 20. They're not
yeah,
officially called a sanctuary, though.
yeah. They are just cat people, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do get a traffic of cats because ours come in and some of them get adopted.
that's
Yeah,
great. So you adopt
yeah,
them out, you take care of them,
yeah.
you take care of injuries or illness or anything like that, and then you find them homes.
And then we find them homes for the ones that special needs cats, or maybe we see their temperament. They'll not be a good fit with most people. We just give them a home here.
Okay, so yeah, you have feral cats as well, some that just aren't used to people, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Do you do
Although,
like community things where you go out and feed feral colonies and stuff like that? We have a lot of that here in the United
yeah,
States.
we do, and sometimes when the cats, we realize that the cats are so used to their, I mean, happier, would be happier in their community. We just spay or neuter and take them back to the community.
Yeah, we call that catch and release. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good initiative. That's a good
Mm,
initiative
mm.
because there's just so many cats, and sometimes, well, obviously, you can't be expected to care for all of them, especially if they're feral and they don't want to be around humans. So it's best to, yes,
Yeah,
at least
yeah,
fix them if you have to put them
yeah.
back out.
Although some will, after the spay, they will like the place so much and not want to leave. So
They
we
just
just
love you
let
too
them
much.
stay. Yes,
Well,
yes.
that's understandable.
Mm.
So, what would you say is where are you originally from Nairobi?
No, I come from a small village in the central province of Kenya.
Okay, so you are
Yes.
originally from Kenya, though.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm originally from central province.
okay. So,
Mm.
what would you say the culture and the food like are there and where you are? Was there any difference from the village you came from to Nairobi being a bigger city? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in the villages, the people live. The staples are predominantly vegan, so meat is rarely consumed there because first of all, it's expensive,
Yeah.
Secondly, even if the butchers want to stock the meat, the people cannot afford it.
Yeah.
So meat is slaughtered maybe once a
So,
week.
like, refrigeration is a problem?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So really, there isn't much meat eating happening there, and it was even less when we were growing up. Like sometimes we would have meat only at Christmas.
Yeah.
The rest of the time we were eating the food we grew ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's considered a luxury to eat meat,
Yes.
or for richer people,
Mm.
actually. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a misconception nowadays. A lot of people are trying to accuse veganism as being a colonial um, pursuit, like colonizing people of different cultures. And I think it's quite the opposite. A lot of cultures, they exist on primarily vegan staples. Isn't that true?
It is true,
Yeah.
and right now people are going back to that way of life, and we actually have a very big movement here dubbed "Going Back to Nature."
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, and people in that group, I am part of that group. We are trying to bring back our staple food, our indigenous food, and putting it back on our plates and making it popular.
Now, what would you say is your staple foods? Like, what is it? Ujali? Is that how you say it? The is a staple.
Ugali,
Ugali.
yeah, for some communities, but for us, it's corn, and for my community, it's corn and beans and peas and all sorts of greens. We have lots of varieties of greens, and yeah, for dessert, sugar cane and fruits and such things.
So, when you moved from, let's say, your village into, how long ago did you move from there to a larger city like Nairobi?
Um, a long time ago, when I was 20,
Okay,
when
that's
I
not a long time ago. You look pretty young. I would say
no,
that's not a long time ago. What was that? A couple years ago?
no, I'm 50, so that's about
Are
30
you
years.
50?
Yes.
I'm 52. You're doing way better than me.
No, I think you look younger than me.
It's the lighting here. I have an excuse. I have lighting. But
Yeah. So,
when you moved though, and you moved from the staples being mainly, did you see a big difference in the culture as far as like the consumption of flesh? From
yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. And so now,
Mm.
did you also see a difference in the health of the population because of that?
Yes, and even for myself, because I've eaten clean. Before that, I ate mostly vegan food. So when I went to college at the coast, they eat a lot of meat, and that's what they served us. And I immediately started breaking out because I think meat is not supposed to be eaten by humans, and if you have not eaten it from childhood and you start eating it in adulthood, of course it's going to affect you in very many ways
Yeah.
adversely. Yes.
So is that what inspired your initiative to feed vegan food to the children at school? Is to
Yes.
help their health, and to show them they need to get back to the earth.
Yeah, I really don't want them to unlearn their connection to nature and their love for plant food and health food and their love for animals,
Yeah.
because children have a connection with the animals that we lose as we grow up and learn different things than what we innately know to be right.
That's wonderful. So you not only pass out vegan meals, but you also educate them at the same time.
Yeah, I also teach them how to grow their own vegetables. We have kitchen gardens running, and next time we are planning to plant fruit trees in the schools.
Nice.
So the kids are really enjoying that, and it's second nature to them.
That's great. I love
Yes.
that. I love that you're doing that. So, how long have you been vegan?
Since 2012. So is it
What's that?
eight
About
years?
8, 9 years? 9 years?
9 years, going to 9 years now.
That's great. Now, can you
Mm.
tell us what made you want to go vegan? What was that? What flipped that switch for you?
In 2010, I got interested in yoga, and I decided to travel to India to learn about more about it. And while I was there, I learned about ahimsa, non-cruelty, and I went vegetarian. So when I came back home, I was researching uh, vegetarian recipes, and I came across veganism, and it sounded like even uh, more of a fit for me, and
Yeah.
it resonated with me, so I went vegan.
Yeah. Did you happen to read Will Tuttle's World Peace Diet book by any chance?
No, I have not read that.
Yeah.
I have not read it. No.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say because ahimsa is the first yama of yoga. Do you still practice yoga?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I've been taking some classes to become a yoga teacher, and I love the classes that I take because they're called World Peace Yoga. They're very heavily based in all the World Peace Diet is all about animals and all that stuff and um, and the connection to yoga and ahimsa and all that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and it really goes in detail about it, and just to see the activism that they're doing with the yoga is wonderful to see, and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
great when you see people grasp that. Wait, oh, this isn't just about the asanas. This isn't just about like exercise. This is about ahimsa. This is about
Yeah.
nonviolence,
Yes.
and
And it. I mean, you just get it when once you know it, you cannot unknow it, and
that is
it's.
so
I
true.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, once you know it, you cannot unknow it.
Yeah.
So, so that's what flipped the switch for you. That's wonderful.
Yes.
So, are any of your family or friends vegan?
Hmm. I've no. Short answer, no. But when I make my vegan food, everybody eats it.
They
They
all
love
want to be
it.
vegan when you cook.
Yes, but no, when they mix with other family members or other friends, and it's really the social life. It's very hard for them to make a change.
So they feel a lot of social pressures, and that's why they don't.
Yeah, and you know our culture revolves around food.
Yeah, and most cultures
Well,
do.
just like but yes.
Yeah,
Mm,
and
mm.
that's the thing. Anytime I talk to somebody, they go, "It's part of my culture." I'm like, "It's part of human culture. It's not specific to yours." It's like when I was talking to Dash in Uganda, and I mean, his family had a business of raising chickens, and he had to leave that family business, which was a big deal for him. And
Mm.
when he turned vegan, and when somebody saw him in town eating at a restaurant, he was eating vegan, they offered to buy him chicken. They thought that he was just poor,
Yes,
you know.
exactly. Yes.
And he was like, "No, it's because I don't want to eat chicken."
Mm.
And it is. It's like I think everywhere it's like it's a standard of like to show that you have money and or it's some kind of
It's a status thing, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you're not alone in the fact that your family's not vegan. Most of the people I talk to, most vegans that I talk to, a lot of us don't. Our families haven't gone vegan. It seems to be the hardest people to talk to. You know.
yes, yeah. And when they come to visit, they know I'm going to make black coffee because I know, or tea because they know. I know they don't like the plant milk. So what they do, they come with their own jerry can of
They come
of
with their own
milk,
what?
with their own jerry can of milk.
Oh, they bring milk into the house.
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to deal with that because I think the milk industry, the dairy industry,
it's
we
even
know as
it's
vegans is the meat industry, and even worse with the
it's
mothers.
even worse. It's way worse than yeah. It's it's even more cruel, and it's
Yeah.
the worst.
I
That's
wish
true.
yeah, I see how you feel about that. Yeah, it's hard. It's very
Mm,
hard to see people
mm,
not get that.
yeah.
So, yeah, you're not alone in that though. You're not. Uh, so, but now that you've been vegan for 9 years, and what about your family and friends that aren't vegan? What do they think about your veganism?
Um, well, they accept it, and they give as much support as they can without, I mean, as far as they can without actually going vegan. Yes.
Yeah. And what do they think about all that you're doing for the community now?
But I think it's a good thing. My dad loves it, and he tells me that you're doing such good things. But
And what do they
yeah,
think about all the cats?
actually, my children love cats, and they do. It's a lot of work taking care of so many cats, and they do most of it.
All right, now,
They
were you able, I don't know how old your children are, but were you able to kind of get them into veganism at all?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said, I don't know how old your children are, but
Uh-huh.
were you able to steer them towards veganism at all? Did they see what you're doing and take some kind of influence out of that?
Yes, like my son, who lives away from home, he works, and he rarely buys meat. He buys the beans and comes here home and boils them and packs them, and he he freezes them, and I think that is the one that could go vegan very easily.
So just keep working on him, right?
Yeah, and the rest will eat when I cook, because I'm usually very busy. But when I do cook vegan food, they'll eat that and not complain. And actually, they love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll ask me to cook for them.
So you're a good cook. That helps.
I'm not, I wouldn't say, but yeah, probably.
Some of us aren't the greatest cooks, but we're still vegan.
Yes, yes. And it's just that the time to cook is limited, but
Well,
I
I
do
imagine
enjoy.
with so many cats,
Yeah, I
because
do
we all know
enjoy.
cats always want to be fed first.
Yes, and and they have to be kept clean, and everything that has to be done for them is takes time and
Yeah,
effort. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So, how would you? All right. So, would you say that it's easy or hard to be vegan where you live?
Um, if one is willing, it's very easy because we have an abundance of plant food year round.
Yeah.
Every season has different fruits and vegetables, but there is no season that doesn't have that growing. So it's very
Do a lot of
easy.
people have their own gardens around there, or
Even the
do?
people in the city do have a farm back in the village. So
Okay.
yes,
Do you
everybody.
also have like large supermarkets there, or do you
Yes,
have outdoor markets? What kind of markets do you have?
we have supermarkets, we have large stores, and then we have small badas. I don't know what you call them, small kiosks where people sell, like what I
We
see
would
your
call it like a
family,
farmer's market, is what we would
like
call
yeah, like your farmers markets, but ours are there every day. From morning up to 9 p.m., you can get any kind of vegetable you want, and they are very cheap.
it. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's
Because there
wonderful.
are so many people farming the food, so it's the supply is more than the demand, so they're cheap.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
so you're saying it's easy to be vegan where you live, and that eating vegetables and stuff like that is cheaper. Do you have like alternatives? In your markets? Do you have alternatives to cheese or meat alternatives and stuff like that? Do you have that stuff?
Yes, that is what is a bit pricey.
Sure.
That it's available for those who can afford it, and
Yeah.
but it's not necessary because our cuisine rarely calls for cheese.
Yeah. Oh, so
Mm,
it rarely calls for dairy. That's great. That's
yeah,
great.
unless now you want to eat pizza, and
Yeah.
even if you are going to eat the regular pizza, you'd still have to spring for that. So if you can afford that, you can afford the vegan cheese.
It's funny when I first went vegan, and cheese was a big deal. I loved cheese when I was growing up, and I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't know how I got away with it, but which most people are actually. Um,
Mm,
but I when I went vegan, I was just like I thought pizza was something I wasn't going to be able to have, and then I
mm,
realized, wait a minute, you can actually get pizza without cheese,
yes.
which sounds
Yeah.
really strange to somebody who grew up with pizza, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
wasn't vegan. But when I tell you what, when I tried it, I actually prefer it without even cheese alternative. I prefer it without. It's actually
Yeah.
really good.
It all depends on how you prepare it and the seasoning you use, and it's all about seasoning. Today my vet came here and with his assistant, and I made them ugali and some meat substitutes, but I made it. I fried it, and it took them a while to realize it was not meat.
Yeah. What do you
Mhm.
use? Do you use TVP, like texture vegetable protein, or soy? Um,
No, there's meat substitute that I get from Nigeria.
okay.
There's a person there making very nice meat substitutes.
Is it like seitan? What's it made of? What's it made of?
It's made from it's from wheat.
From wheat, so it's seitan. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
He make,
people don't understand. Seitan is so easy to make and so
yeah,
cheap. It's just wheat, flour, and water and
and water
seasonings.
and seasoning and he actually thought he was eating beef, and he polished off everything, and it was really nice to see.
And then you went, surprise!
"Mm,
That's great.
that's not beef. I'm sorry."
And you liked it.
Yeah, they loved it. They actually loved it very much, and he wants to get it because they are Seventh Day and they are not really allowed to eat meat anyway.
Oh,
SDA
okay.
followers and are discouraged from eating meat, so he's going to get it for his family, and I'm really happy about it.
I'm sorry, because of his religion?
Yeah, they
Okay.
they are not they are discouraged from using meat products.
Sounds like your cats are getting in a fight back there. That's gonna happen with that many cats. It's gonna
Yes,
happen.
and that's only one cat called Maya. She
So
likes,
sometimes you just gotta let them work it out themselves.
yeah,
They'll figure it
yeah,
out.
yeah. They will. They are not fighting. They're just chasing each other.
So you're saying it's easy to be vegan where you live. What would you say are the struggles?
The struggles are, like I said before, the social gatherings, because it will be very hard to, if your mother-in-law handed you a plate of meat, it will be very hard to say no, and you'll be regarded as very rude and such things. So the social aspect is one of the greatest hindrances. The other one is the status.
The what?
The
The
status.
status. Oh,
Yeah.
status. Yeah.
People think you're poor if you're just eating greens and ugali.
So how do you deal with that?
I really, even if I was gonna go to the social places, I just carry my own food, or my family accepts that and they make vegan food for me on the side. As I said, our staples are all vegan,
Yeah.
so they are going to eat that anyway and add meat. So they'll just not add meat for me.
So
And
basically, your struggles. are the same as most people say, and that is other people.
Yeah, yeah,
That's really what
yeah.
it is.
For me, I really don't. It's not a struggle for me. Um, Generally, I'm not very social. I only go when I have to go because I have so much work, and like the sanctuary. I work here from Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
From Yeah, so I only go to social gatherings that that are really really necessary.
Do you have vegan social gatherings there? Do you have groups that collect and you guys have
Yeah,
like potlucks and
y-
stuff like that?
yes, yes, and we do have a new vegan restaurant in Nairobi.
You
That's
do.
Yes.
What's it
So
called?
soul vegetarian.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So anything, any groups, any places, anything that we talk about during this, I will have links to those below, including to how to get in contact with you. And do you have any social media for your sanctuary?
yes, Nairobi Feline Sanctuary on Facebook and on
We'll include that
Instagram.
too.
Yeah, and we have a website.
Awesome. And what about the initiative that you're doing for the schools? Does that all come out of your own pocket?
No, this time I got funding from Womax in funders. They fund women of color.
Okay,
So that was a relief this year. I'm actually able to do more and include more schools.
that's great. And if
Yes,
there is any way we can leave a link to that, if you have social media for it, if there's any way for us to contribute to that, if we want to, that's a
yes, we
great
have
idea.
a website for that for the Vegan Society of Kenya,
Okay,
and we have Facebook and Instagram.
awesome. I didn't even know there was a Vegan Society of Kenya.
There is, and we actually doing all that work under that society
Okay,
because we are fully registered, so we can do things legally. Because for such programs, we need to work with the government. We need to work with the county government. They have to give permission because you are dealing with children.
sure.
Yeah,
You have to get permits and stuff like that
yeah,
to make sure the
yeah.
food is
They need to
safe
know.
and
Yeah, they need to know who you are, what you're going to do there, and then they allow you.
was that a lot of paperwork for you, or was it fairly easy to get that through?
At first, in one of the communities, it was hard to get the permission because they said that some people went there and dumped food that was expiring. And I told them anything I can source from your community, that's what I prefer to do. I'm not going to be carrying food from anywhere. I just source from your community.
Oh, they were worried about you, like, taking business away from local farmers. I see.
Yeah, so I understood that, but in any case, I'm teaching them to grow. I want them to be self-sustaining. I'm teaching them how to grow their own
Self-sufficient.
food. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So we
actually,
can-
with what you're doing, it actually helps the farmers because it encourages people to eat more of their products. And are they now on board with what you're doing then?
yes, and like in the community, that same community, I have the mothers taking turns to come help cook the lunch.
That's great. That's
Mm,
great.
mm,
That's got to be you are a hardworking woman. You are very hardworking, taking care of cats and doing that on top of it. I
yeah,
really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us because you have to be so busy.
my pleasure.
So, how would you say people view animal rights where you live? I mean, that's different than veganism. Veganism, a lot of people might look at it that's just a diet. But how do people view animal rights?
Yeah, you are right. Veganism, they understand it from the health point of view, but when it comes to animal rights, that's very hard to for them to understand. They don't understand. Like one person asked me, you why would you spend so much money and time on cats when they're pregnant women and children that need help? So in a community where there are so many hardships, it's very hard to talk about rights.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, you would think that they would make the connection that animal rights is human rights because I mean, obviously, if they make
exactly.
the health connection, you know, we're
Yeah,
all
but
connected, and you know because you
yeah,
studied yoga that we're all connected, and
and a community that doesn't take care of the animals is not a community that thrives.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree,
yeah,
and it's too bad. Sometimes they can't look past what's right in front of them and their own
yeah,
struggles right in front of them
mm,
to see that
yeah.
it all contributes to their own struggle, you know.
Yeah, so the best one can do is lead by example.
Yeah. And educate, which is what you are doing. So thank you for
Yes,
that. So,
thank you.
with all the activism that you do several different types. It sounds like, and you're involved with different organizations. What would you say is your favorite form of activism?
Ah, animal rights.
Animal rights. So, what would you
Yeah,
say? Educating people? Would you say online, talking to people face to face?
to people face to face, and yes, I mean putting the information out there, and generally doing uh, talking to people one on one, also putting the information out there. And last year we were I was working with uh, on the closure of donkey slaughter here in my country,
You
and
were working on. I'm sorry. You were working on what?
donkey slaughterhouses. You know,
Oh,
we have quite a few here, and they were closed. But this year again, they found a loophole in the law, and they are opening them up again. So I like sorry. So I so I that's what I like doing. I mean,
now, what are you doing with the
places.
slaughterhouses? Are you going there and bearing witness, or are you talking to people about what are you doing about
Uh,
that?
what Peter did, they sent somebody with an investigator with a hidden camera, and then we they did an expose.
Awesome.
And so we ran a petition, and the minister slaughterhouses. But this year they have found a loophole in the law. So we are also trying to see what we can do about it again.
Wow.
Just in
So you're
as a
working on legislation as well.
yes,
That's great. Wow,
mm,
you're really doing all that you can. Now,
yeah,
when I talked about the Big Five and how they're protected there now in
mm,
Kenya, and it's illegal to kill any of the Big Five, is what they call them,
yes,
like
mm,
elephants and yeah. It's funny how you know we have these welfare protections for example, in our own societies of cats and dogs, most societies
yes,
around the world, and then a society like yours where you have those bigger animals, you have protections for them, but then nobody gets the connection to how we should protect cows and pigs and chickens. You know, there's such a
mm.
disconnect.
It's the cognitive dissonance
Yeah,
is real, and outside looking in, it's very hard to understand why people cannot see.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
right about that. You're so right.
yeah, yeah.
So I want to ask you, if a vegan visits where you live, where should they go? That doesn't have to be a restaurant, but it can be if you'd like.
I think they should go to they should go because
Go.
at
I'm
least
sorry. Go to where? You cut off for just a second.
to the vegan restaurant first of all, because they
Okay.
need vegan food, but also they should visit the national park because organizations there that are protecting animals, and they can, if they can also join us in our place and get to meet the locals, and probably also lend a voice, because a prophet is never listened to in their community. So probably a person from another land saying the same thing will get more mileage than me.
Definitely, definitely. Go there and support the local vegan community and
Yes.
all that you guys are doing. That's great.
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
have I asked you before if you do potlucks, are they regular? Do you have them regularly?
Do we?
Like where everybody gathers for vegan food in the community, do you have those regularly, like every month or
Yeah, we do, but with the COVID, with the pandemic, they are just starting again. But before,
okay.
yeah,
So it's harder. Yeah, it's hard on everybody that I've talked to.
yes,
There's
yes,
different
until probably we can have many people vaccinated, the ones that want to, then probably we'd have more places opening up and movement to be free, I think.
that and you'll get the tourism back and stuff like that. I'm
Yes,
sure it's been
yes.
hard on the economy. A lot of places that rely on tourism, it's been
Mm,
pretty hard. So yeah,
yes,
for everybody. So you would say, that restaurant we'll leave a link to, and the vegan communities and the organizations you talked about we'll leave a link to if anybody wants to join
yes,
up with you, get to meet you, and share some socialize with
yes,
you. That's great.
yes.
I
Yeah,
would
that's
personally love to do
great.
that, meet the local people. So
Yes, and that's a safe place. You can have vegan food and talk freely about veganism and not worry about your soup having
not worry about
some
what?
not worry about your soup having some
Oh, your soup having
meat,
some
meat
flesh or
products by
yeah.
accident. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good, especially if you're in a different culture and not all cultures understand when you say no meat. They think that chicken broth's okay because there's no meat
Yes.
chunks in it.
Exactly. So,
That's even happened to me in the United States. So some people just don't
oh,
get it. Yeah. I remember
yeah.
when I first went vegan, I was actually living with a boyfriend at the time, and we went to his mother's house, and she was so proud of herself for making us vegetable soup. But then we found out that she made it with beef broth. She did not understand. I know. So, what would you say is your favorite local vegan dish that they should try if they come there?
My local vegan.
Your
I like
favorite local vegan dish.
I like corn and beans and vegetables. Simple.
Okay, that's good. That's good enough.
Mm.
And it's easy to access there. So,
Yeah.
and what would all right, so how can they get involved in the local vegan community? Now, I'm asking you that, but I suppose that the answer is going to be is just check all the links below and be able to and contact you or those organizations
Yes.
and definitely support them.
Yes.
Because even if we can't travel to Nairobi for whatever reason, you could always support them through online. So
Yeah, we can.
that is
We,
one good thing about this about technology nowadays. Sometimes it's a
yes.
pain, but
Mm.
sometimes it's a good thing because you and I are connecting and we can connect with you that way. So,
Yes. It clears the distance. Time.
so finally, I would like to ask you, where would you like to visit one day? It sounds like you've traveled already. Have you traveled a lot?
Not really. I've been to India twice and South Africa.
Okay.
I would like to visit British Columbia in Canada because they have a very big cat sanctuary. I would like to go and
Oh,
see.
cat. What is it called? Cat on the Kings. Cat. Something on the
It's
cat.
Raps, regional. Yeah, so I think it's I forget but it's the Raps Cat Sanctuary.
Okay, I haven't
They
heard
I
of it.
would really love to see how they run such a big sanctuary and try to implement some of that here.
Well, you know what? You'll have to give me a link to that too because I haven't heard
I
of it. And
will.
we actually do have a regular. My moderator is she's from Canada, so maybe she'll know about it, or maybe she doesn't, and she gets to check it out then. So,
Yes, I'll definitely send you a link.
so yeah, that was my
They
question. Where would you
do,
like to visit, and learn about veganism there? And nobody has said Canada, so that's
yeah,
great.
they do great work. They are making such a big difference, and they are a no kill shelter, and they receive all cats would have been killed elsewhere and give them a home.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
So that's great. I appreciate. We all appreciate everything that you're doing over there, and wow, yeah, I can't imagine living with 80 cats. So more power to you. I think my mom will enjoy watching this one too. Maybe she
Yes, she
can get a
will.
few tips from you. They've been doing it for a
Yeah,
long time. So
they're generally calm. They have they have things to do, so they don't bother.
yeah.
They don't. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been. I think my mom and her husband are what they call foster fails. They went in it
Oh,
with the idea that they'd help the cats out and find them a home, but
yes.
then they end up being the home when they
Yeah,
get attached.
that's how I also started out.
Yeah, there goes the airplane. Hold on, that one wasn't too bad. That one wasn't too bad. So we're almost done here. I do have a final question. That's a surprise question. We talked about pizza before. Do you like pizza?
Yes, I like pizza.
Okay. So here's my final question. Pineapple on pizza. Is that a yes or a no?
Yeah, I love pineapple.
So you're
Um,
saying yes?
yeah,
Yay! Pineapple on pizza. There, your team
when I
pineapple.
make my pizza, I always make sure to add pineapple.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
This
because
is
we also grow a lot of pineapple here.
I did not know that. So that's a good thing to
Yes.
know.
Mhm.
Awesome. So if I come over to visit, we're definitely having pineapple on pizza.
On pizza, definitely.
That's great. That's great. What else do you like to have besides pineapple? Do you like to mix it with certain ingredients on your
My
pizza?
fa- yeah, my favorite is cauliflower.
Cauliflower.
Mm.
Now, I have not
Cauli-
tried that. I will try that.
yeah, it's really nice if you season it properly and it tastes so good.
I've had cauliflower crust for pizza, which I don't care for, I'll be honest with
Mm.
you. But cauliflower actually on the pizza, I'll
Yeah,
try it.
as a topping, and you season it very well. In India, we used to have a lot of cauliflower with rice,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
so I think it grew on me.
Yeah, there you go. You
Mm.
got a little influence. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty much it. That's all I have to ask you.
Mhm.
But I've really enjoyed meeting you and learning a little bit more about where you're from and everything that you're doing. And I look forward to looking into those things that you told me about, those organizations, and even the sanctuary, your
Yeah.
sanctuary, and the one in Canada. I look forward to checking that out. So, before we go, is there anything else that you would like to say to our viewers?
I would like to say thank you very much for inviting me. It's really nice to meet you, and I like your personality.
Oh, thank you. I like yours
I
too.
had
That's
a
so
lot of
sweet.
fun talking to you today.
Thank you so much. I
Mm.
really I love to get to meet people from around the world. I love all the wonderful people that I see that are working hard for the animals across the world. And it makes us feel a little less separated, you
Yes,
know? a little more
Yes.
together in our struggle. So we share a lot of the same things no matter where we are. So it's
Yeah, and talking about it does help. It makes
it does.
it feels good to talk to somebody who understands.
Yeah.
Sorry.
With that, the cats say it's time to go. So
Yeah,
again, Rachel, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and let you go.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank
I know it's getting later for you there, and
you.
I do want to check out all those links, and I hope that we definitely keep in touch, and I'll be checking out and seeing how you're doing.
Okay, I'll do that.
That sounded like a crash. Okay, let you go.
Okay, bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Have a great
Bye.
night. Bye
You too.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. So, anyway, guys, I would like to say thank you again for joining us. And I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Rachel is a great person and wow, a really strong person for all that she's involved in. I'm going to check it all out. Check out all the links below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, comment, share these videos with other vegans or people who don't think you can be vegan wherever you are. And if you want to know who I'm going to have next week, you're just going to have to show up. Thank you. Bye.